Example number 1. Which of the following is the recursive formula for this explicit function? So the question is telling us that this is explicit, and these down here are recursive. So if you are thinking, how do I tell them apart? How do I know when it's explicit? How do I know when it's recursive? The recursive one has this, f of n minus 1, f of n minus 1, f of n minus 1. These all mean previous. And notice that explicit doesn't have it. Okay? One way to do this problem is I want you to recreate the sequence, because all these equations and formulas, they create a sequence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the sequence for all of them. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to match this sequence to one of these. And this is what I'm doing. Let me write this down here. So right now my focus is on the explicit. Explicit means this. If you want to find the first number, notice that they don't give you the first number. You could recreate it by simply plugging in 1. Plug in 1 to wherever the n was at. Plug in 1. That means you're trying to find the first number. So plug in 1 here. This would be, just do the math here. 3 plus 8. Oh wait, that's not plus, that's minus. Three minus 8, that would be negative 5. Do it again with 2. Plug in 2 because you're trying to find the second number. So that would be 6 minus 8. That would be negative 2. Do it again for 3. That would be 9 minus 8. That would be 1. So there's your list. Negative 5 is your first term. Negative 2 is your second term. 1 is your third term. I could keep going, but three digits is good enough, because that allows you to match it to one of these down here. So now that I did my work for the explicit, now I gotta do it for the recursive. The good thing about recursive is that you could do some mental math here, and they give you the first number. So on A, let's see if the answer is A. F of 1 equals to 5. That means that the first number on my sequence is 5. And you could already see that A is not going to be the answer, because it doesn't match. It's not going to be A. I already know it's not A, but just for practice, let me show you how to get the next two numbers. So if you're trying to find the second number, the rule says that you're going to look at the previous number and add 3. So add 3 to the 5, that will give you 8, and then 11. That wasn't necessary because I already knew that wasn't the answer, but that was just for practice. For B, the first term on the sequence is negative 5. And the rule says that you're going to take the previous number and add 3. So I'm going to add 3 to get this number. So that's negative 5 plus 3. When you're dealing with negative and positive numbers, you're going to subtract them and take the value of the bigger number. So it's negative 2. Plus 3, that's 1. I already see that's gonna be it. And just for practice, let's do C. Let's show you the evidence as to How come the answer is not C? Because look, the first number is -5, just like above, but the deal breaker here would be the second number that will prove why the answer is not C. This means previous number, so the rule is telling you take the previous number and take away 2. So if I took away 2, that would be -7 minus 2, that would be -9. So you see that is not C. So my answer would be B. I have one last example on the next slide, and that will be the end of this lesson. Again, if you need to take a picture of this or write the example down, write it down. Another strategy is that if you miss something here, you could go back to the video, and add to your notes. If you don't take notes, your mind will not process this information as it should. When your mind goes through the writing process, it your brain will be more likely to memorize it when you're writing it and seeing it instead of just watching it. All right, last one. Here it is. I'll give you time to go ahead and read it on your own, and then I'll start. Okay, let's start. This one is backwards now. This one says, here's your recursive now. Match it to the explicit. So it is the opposite of the last question. Same idea, right? So let's recreate our first 3 numbers for all of them. Since this topic might be new to, well, it shouldn't be new. This is the end of the unit. But a good practice is to show why the wrong answers are wrong and prove it. Prove to yourself why the other ones are wrong. So let's start with the recursive. F of 1 equals -3. There it is. The rule says that you're going to multiply 3 and multiply it by previous. That's the rule. And then the domain is from n bigger than or greater than 2. So if you want to know this number, all you got to do is times 3. So that would be -9 times 3 again. That would be -27. You could keep going, but again, 3 numbers is good enough. So now I'm going to go to my multiple choice and try to find these 3 numbers, okay? So let's look at A. We are looking to find its equivalent. Equivalent means I got to find the same list down here, and I'm dealing with explicit. So let's look at A. So for A, this is what I'm doing for A. I am replacing the n with 1, 2, 3 because I'm trying to find the first, second, and third. So let's do the math here. And you see that this -6 messes that problem up, so it's not going to be A because I was looking for a -9 on the second value. B. This n up here is an exponent, is a power. So for B, this is what B looks like. I'm going to set it up. And solve here. So this is order of operations, or PEMDAS. So you have to do the exponent first. You need to take care of the exponent first. So this is 3 to the power of 1 is 3 times negative 1. That's negative 3. 3 to the power of 2 means 3 times 3, which is 9. So this is negative 9. 3 to the power of 3 means 3 times 3 times 3, so it's 27. Times negative 1 is negative 27. So it seems like we found the match. That matches the recursive from the top. And again, just for practice, I'm gonna show you why the answer is not C. So this is why the answer is not C. Let's confirm that is not C. Oh, let me erase this N. And let me do it over here. Right. So 1, 2. Whoa, what happened here? And 3. So let's see. 1 minus 1 is 0. So this is 0 times 3 is 0. So there is 0 there. That's the reason why the answer is not C, because the first digit is 0. Let's see why it's not D. Let's look at D. So for D is negative 1 times 3 to the power of 1 minus 1. When you are dealing with exponents, well, let me do 1 minus 1 first. So this is 1 times 3 to the power of 0. Let's do exponents first. So 3 to the power of 0. 3 to the power of 0 is 1. This is something that students tend to forget, but it's a very basic skill here in math. Any number to the power of 0 is 1. Like 1,000 raised to the power of 0, that is 1. So this becomes negative 1 times 1, that would be negative 1. So right here would be negative 1. And you could see that it's not going to be D.